Welcome back to the Technology Risk Podcast.
Hey there.
Before we get into today's topic, which is a big one, just a quick note. If you find this analysis helpful for your work, for understanding what's happening out there, please subscribe. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, really wherever you listen.
Your support really does help us keep doing this.
It does.
So today we're looking at something that's, frankly, a dangerous escalation. We're moving way beyond just stealing corporate data.
Right.
We're talking about cyber attacks designed to cause actual real-world physical damage, what everyone's now calling cyber-physical sabotage.
Our goal today is pretty clear. We need to get into how these industrial control systems, the brains behind water treatment plants, power grids, pipelines, are being breached.
And why this one thing, this one type of attack, bridges that huge gap between IT risk and, well, catastrophic operational risk.
And most importantly, what resilient strategies actually work.
Yeah, and this isn't just theory. We've seen Canadian authorities issue these urgent warnings recently. It's because attackers successfully manipulated critical ICS devices. This wasn't just looking at data. They were directly changing operational settings.
Things like water quality, chemical dosing, even pressure levels in pipelines.
Exactly.
And let's just put a number on this right away, because the scale is kind of shocking. ICS attacks have surged over 200% worldwide in just the last 2 years.
200%.
And utilities, water, power, gas, are the single most targeted sector. So we're in a completely new threat environment now.
To really get the danger here, we have to look at how these attacks work, the anatomy of it. Attackers are not just looking at a screen, they are getting into the physical control devices themselves. The PLCs, programmable logic controllers, and the HMIs, the human-machine interfaces.
Okay, let's break that down.
Yeah.
A good way to think about it for your team is to imagine a car. The PLC is the actual computer controlling the engine. It's taking in data and sending instructions. Go faster, slow down, turn this pump off. The HMI is just the dashboard screen the operator looks at. If an attacker controls the PLC, they are driving the car directly.
That's a perfect analogy.
Yeah.
And by getting access, they change those critical parameters: pump speeds, pressure, chemical flows. And the takeaway here, what you really need to understand, is the consequence. This isn't about losing money. It's about contamination, environmental spills, destroying equipment.
And potential loss of life.
Yeah.
That's the part that changes everything.
It does. A data breach causes financial damage, reputational damage. An ICS breach causes physical damage. It literally transforms cyber risk into a public safety crisis.
So what's so alarming here is how they got in. You'd think for critical infrastructure, it would be some sophisticated, expensive zero-day exploit.
You would think so, but it wasn't.
No, the methods were surprisingly low-tech. We're talking about default passwords. Still, remote access ports just left wide open, outdated firmware, and really weak or sometimes no network segregation between the corporate IT side and the operational OT side.
That's the sobering part, isn't it? This incredibly complex physical infrastructure is being put at risk by failures in basic cyber hygiene.
The data is just tragic on this. Over 60% of ICS devices in North America are still running on outdated or completely unsupported firmware.
So this isn't a problem that needs a new AI tool to solve it. A lot of the time, it's just a failure to patch and change the password from admin.
Right. And it's not even hard for attackers to find these targets. You mentioned platforms like Shodan.
Yeah, we should probably clarify that. Shodan is basically Google, but for vulnerable devices connected to the internet.
It lets an attacker search for anything unsecured, cameras, routers, and most critically for our conversation, internet-exposed water pumps and pipeline controls.
If it's connected and it's not protected properly, Shodan will map it for you instantly.
And the problem is that the OT protocols themselves, the languages these devices speak, are inherently insecure. Things like Modbus or DNP3.
They were designed decades ago.
Exactly. For reliability and speed inside a closed factory, not for internet security. They have no built-in encryption or authentication.
So the moment you connect them to the web, you've created a massive vulnerability.
So that brings us to the core issue, this convergence of information technology IT and operational technology OT.
Right, which often results in what we call flat network.
Okay, Let's drill down on that. What does that mean for an organization?
It means a simple phishing email that lands on a corporate IT employee's computer can quickly become a compromise of the OT network.
Because there's no separation.
No meaningful separation, so it can just hop from the email server over to the controls for the actual physical world, the valves, the pumps, the turbines.
And these OT systems are running on legacy tech, sometimes 20 years old. They were never, ever meant to be connected to the internet.
And they still have those default passwords we talked about. Admin.
They were supposed to be air-gapped, right?
Yeah.
Physically isolated.
They were, but the push for efficiency, for remote monitoring, for automation has just overridden all that caution.
And now the stats say about 15% of all ICS systems are directly exposed online.
Which is a 50% increase in just 2 years. A massive jump.
So this convenience has made them incredibly easy targets. And it raises a bigger question. Why does this knowledge gap still exist inside these organizations?
It's a culture clash, really. You have the IT teams who are focused on data privacy, email, cloud servers. They don't really understand the safety protocols or reliability needs of OT.
And on the other side, you have the OT engineers. They're brilliant mechanics. They know the physics of the system inside and out, but they often don't have robust cybersecurity training.
Exactly. That gap between them is the attacker's best friend. It's like asking an IT person to fix a turbine.
Or a mechanic to secure a cloud database. They speak different languages.
And the attacker exploits that lack of translation.
And it's not just who they're attacking, but who is doing the attacking. The lines are blurring there too.
Absolutely. Groups that used to focus on pure espionage, Volt Typhoon from China, Sandworm from Russia, APT-33 from Iran, they are now actively tampering with physical systems.
So you have nation-state level actors with huge resources and strategic goals targeting, say, a municipal water plant.
The whole calculus changes at that point. Your general IT defenses are not going to cut it.
So what does this mean for an organization running this stuff? The defense has to be, what, tangible, specific to that OT environment.
It has to be. And you have to recognize you can't just reboot a power grid like you reboot a laptop.
Okay, so step one, where do you start?
Network segmentation. This is the absolute non-negotiable foundation. You have to use strict firewalls, network zoning, physical separation.
Like fire doors between the office network and the factory floor controls.
That's a great way to put it. You have to make sure an IT breach cannot just freely spread to the controls for that water pump.
Okay, step two seems simple, but I imagine it's hard to enforce.
It's eliminating default credentials.
The admin prior problem.
Yes. Any device, especially one used for remote access, if it's using a default password, it has to be changed immediately. And you have to enforce strong multi-factor authentication.
And what about all that legacy tech? You can't just patch a 20-year-old system that runs 24/7.
You often can't, and trying to can cause a catastrophic shutdown. So for those devices that can't be patched or at their end of life, the answer is isolation.
Take them off the network entirely.
Or put them behind their own dedicated strict firewalls. Isolate them rigorously.
So after the basics, what's the action that really shifts the defense from passive to active?
Continuous monitoring. You have to monitor your OT systems 24/7, and this means using OT-specific tools.
Not just IT tools pointed at the OT network.
Correct. You need intrusion detection systems that understand the physics of your operation.
So they're not just looking for malware signatures, they're looking for what?
Unexpected changes in the physical process. A pump speed suddenly spiking when it shouldn't. A chemical flow rate changing without an operator command. The system needs to know that's an anomaly.
And that's what saves lives.
That's what saves lives. The data shows that continuous OT monitoring can reduce the impact of an ICS breach by something like 72%. It's staggering.
Okay, finally, you can have all the tech in the world, but you need to practice.
You need to practice. Joint IT/OT incident drills, tabletop exercises.
Where you model a real disaster.
Yes. A contaminated water scenario, a pipeline rupture. You force the IT security people and the OT engineers to work together under pressure. It builds that organizational muscle memory you need in a real emergency.
Let's look at a real-world example. There was a success story in the sources.
There was a municipal water authority. They had done the work good segmentation, OT anomaly detection. When attackers trying to change chemical dosing settings, the system spotted it, alerted the operators, and they shut it down before any water quality was affected.
So that OT visibility directly led to mitigating the consequence.
Immediately.
And on the flip side, there was the U.S. water facility hit by Iranian-linked actors.
A very different story.
There, the failure point was exposed remote access tools protected only by, you guessed it, default passwords.
The attackers got in, they altered pump settings, and they attempted physical sabotage. The lesson is just brutal. Anything you connect to the internet will be targeted.
So if we pull back, look at the bigger picture. The future seems to demand much tighter controls.
It has to. We're moving toward a model of zero trust, but for OT.
The idea of never trust, always verify.
Exactly. But applied to every valve, every pump, not just every user account.
That sounds incredibly difficult to implement on physical systems.
It is. It means microsegmentation, where one pump can only talk to its specific controller and nothing else. It means continuous identity verification for machine-to-machine communication.
A huge investment.
A huge investment in modernization, and you're going to see more regulation pushing this.
Mandatory reporting, national standards.
For sure. And the cyber insurers are already demanding it. They won't underwrite these risks anymore without seeing MFA, segmentation, and dedicated OT monitoring in place.
So to wrap this up, the incidents in Canada and the US are really a stark warning.
A wake-up call.
Cyber risk is now, without a doubt, physical risk. Attackers aren't just stealing data anymore. They are manipulating the machinery that controls our daily lives.
But you have the tools. You have the framework to build resilience, segment your networks, eliminate every single default credential now, and set up that 247 monitoring specifically for your OT environment.
Audit your physical infrastructure today.
Water, oil, electricity. These aren't optional services.
No. When infrastructure is the target, the stakes aren't financial anymore, they are societal. The job of protecting the physical world now rests squarely on the shoulders of cyber defenders.
Well said.
Thank you for joining us for this analysis on the Technology Risk Podcast. If you found this discussion valuable, please take a moment to subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, or any platform you use.
And share it with your colleagues. We'll see you next time.